Guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about January 6th. And January 6th is, well, it's a couple of things. It's my aunt's birthday. And the other funny thing about it is I'm the person who dreamt it up. In the years preceding the January 6th event, what had happened was I had this reoccurring dream. And in that reoccurring dream, what was happening was I kept dreaming over and over. That's what a reoccurring dream is, right? I kept dreaming over and over about civilians, people like you and me, just normal guys and gals, dressed in blue tactical gear. And what had happened in the dream was we were lined up in box trucks. So we had bench seats in box trucks that we made out of, like old locker room benches that were made out of wood before they started getting real commercialized, and they're all commercially made now. These were bench seats that were just made out of lumber, and they were lining both sides of the box trucks and down the middle, and there it was just full. The box trucks were just full of us, civilians. And in the dream, what we were doing was we were storming the Capitol. And the reason we were storming the Capitol, we all knew it. We were storming the Capitol because we were tired of being disenfranchised by the government. And that's nothing new for politics and government. And so I kept having this dream, and so about a year after I started having this dream, about 4 years ago, I started posting that on YouTube. I mean, anytime somebody would post something that was disgusting about the government, I would post the video. I dreamt that civilians dressed in blue tactical gear stormed the Capitol and arrested all of the politicians for robbing and destroying our country. And I posted that everywhere for like 3 years, for 2 years, not 3, actually about 18 months. So I just posted because it was dominating my soul. And so I felt like I had to share that dream. And so I did. I shared that dream. And my intent was not an insurrection or to violate the Insurrection Act or anything like that. My intent was to share a dream that I had had that was distressing me. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and look back in my comments. You're going to see some stuff that I say that probably disgusts you. And some of the stuff I say disgusts myself. And I'm not going to erase it because I own stuff that I do like that. So I posted that. You could look through my comment history and you'll see it over and over again those years ago. And I'm the one who dreamt up January 6th. And you know what? There's 2 parts of committing a crime. You have to have the mens rea and I forgot mens actus. So you actually have to have the intent and you have to have the act. And I had no intent on any of that happening the way it happened at January 6th with President Trump and all of the people who went in there. My intent, like I said, was just to share a dream because it was concerning me. And I definitely didn't have the act, so I wasn't there for the act, and I wasn't telling people, hey, go get in a truck or anything like that. I didn't do anything like that. I simply shared my dream, and the reason I shared my dream is because my whole life I've had, some people call it a gift or a curse, where I dream the future and it comes true. And so the thing about the January 6th event is I dreamt it up, okay? And it didn't happen like my dream. And the reason it didn't happen like my dream is because it hasn't happened like my dream yet. January 6th was like a false attempt. It was you know how it was made when it wasn't time yet. It wasn't, you know, it was like people saw, I imagine, I don't know for sure, I'm speculating. People saw my posts about my dreams because I am all over YouTube. Some people are constantly calling me a troll, and I'm not. I'm genuine about what I post for the most part. Often I'm gaslighting, often I'm genuine. So, you know, it's a mixture. And the problem with this kind of thing is when people jump the gun on a historical event like that, well, actually, you know what? Come to think of it, maybe that's part of the whole bigger picture. Maybe that's just part of it. It's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen. And for me personally, I hope that it never comes to the point of a populist revolt where people are lining up in box trucks as civilians by the thousands to take over the Capitol because our politicians have finally been so egregious that there's just nothing else to do except for an insurrection. And at that point, the Bill of Rights and the amendments no longer matter. So the 14th Amendment or 16th, whichever one it was, that makes insurrection illegal, which in my opinion, from what I've studied of history, the Insurrection Act is illegal. They did not have all the states on board. They didn't have the votes. They pushed it through illegally. And if you look at the history, there's some pretty profound evidence that that's the fact. And there's some pretty profound evidence that a lot of the amendments to the Constitution through the Bill of Rights have been artificially pushed through when, in fact, legally there was no grounds for the states' conventions did not have they didn't have the quorum to be making that. And the politicians in DC did it anyway because they hate us. They're glad-handers looking for their next vote to keep their seat, to keep their bellies fed, to keep their pockets full. And the only time they're going to listen to you is when their phones are ringing so much that it disgusts them and they can't stand hearing the phones ring and not being able to check their email because it's flooded from people like us who care genuinely. That's the only time we have real stake in the government, and that's disgusting. And that needs to change. And am I going to do anything about that? Probably not. I'm pretty lazy for the most part. I can't do anything about my dreams. I can't stop my brain from dreaming things that are salacious or harmful or anything like that. None of us can. And for me, it's a coping mechanism to share those dreams. So if you see that, my intent, there's no intent for anything to go south or anybody get harmed or anything like that. It's just me sharing as a coping mechanism because often it feels like a curse. When you have that mind, and you know the future, which people are like, you can't see the future, blah, blah, blah. Okay, one can argue, all right? No big deal. I'm not going to beat you up over it. You're not going to beat me up over it. I'm stating from my perspective. When you have that mind, it often feels like a curse because we see these things in our lives that we know are terrible. And the only thing I can do is hold on to the wheel as tightly as possible and try to smile and make the best out of it. And that's what I did there. And I pray to God that it never comes to fruition. Unfortunately, that may not be the case with this one. So we'll see what time does with that. I support my president. I support my government. I still love my country devoutly. I love my family. And you know, I can't help it that I had that dream, and I can't help it that I have to share those things to feel better. It's just part of life. So that's it. I'm the person that dreamt up January 6th. And you know what? Nobody's even called me to ask me anything. They all think I'm a crackpot. And I don't mind that, to be honest. I think it's great because, well, it gives you a lot of leeway either way, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. And thanks, guys. Leave your questions and comments down below.